I'm Rita, and in this episode I will guide you through Bokio accounting software. So this is Bokio accounting software tutorial. The best way for me to guide you through this tutorial would be if I would take on a role of a real business owner. So in this episode I have a training company, and actually it's health and safety training company. So I can train other people to become health and safety instructors, as well as myself can do or perform health and safety accreditations for companies and perform risk assessments. So first things first, let's register on Bokio accounting software. Registration process. So type in your browser bokio.co.uk and press enter. From this screen, let's click on create free account or create free account here. And now we need to set up our account on Bokio. So email address, type in there. And provide your name and surname. Tick this box and click continue. Now we need to check an email and get 4-digit code or click on a link. So I have email here and there is code 60324 for me. And click continue. Now we need to provide a strong password. So once you have added details there, click continue. Step 2. So question is what we want to do in Bokio. In my case, I will set up my real company in Bokio, but you can also select I want to try out Bokio first. So I want to set up my real company and click continue. Here I need to add company name or company number and click on get company info. This will pull information through company's house. In my case, I will select add company details manually. Okay, I will add details about my company as well as address details here, and then I will click continue. In step 4, we need to add a little bit more details about our business. So firstly, if I'm a VAT registered business, if you are, select register for VAT with HMRC, or if you are not, leave as not registered for VAT. In my case, I'm not registered for VAT for this tutorial purposes. Okay? And second step is we need to select what kind of accounting method we use. So if I'm a limited company, I will use accrual basis, but if you are a sole trader, for example, then you can select cash basis here as well. So I will leave accrual basis. Third step, we need to provide details. So is this the first my financial or fiscal year, like financial or fiscal year is the same, or this is another maybe third or fourth. So in my case, I'm starting to use Bokio as a first timer, so this is my first fiscal year. I need to add my start date, so I will select my start date as 1st of June, and then my financial year will end on 31st of May 2023. So just click on calendar and select time when it finishes, so 31st May. Okay, and click done. Now we are registered on Bokio accounting software. Okay, let's check equipment for today's course. Okay, this is working fine. Presentation is there. Let's check attendees. So we have 6 attendees today, and here is our course schedule as well. So we are ready and set up to start today's health and safety course. So for future health and safety inspectors. And the same will apply with accounting software. I checked if equipment works, if I can see presentation and also a note. The same will be with settings section. Before I start to record transactions on accounting software, I want to make sure that I have added, for example, business details. I have invited users who need to use my accounting software as well as updating and amending chart of accounts to align in line with my business needs. So let's go through settings section now. Just a tip, you can always skip a settings section. I would not suggest to do so. However, if you decide to skip settings section, you can go to description section below, and there is a timestamps of today's whole tutorial as a breakdown. Skip or click on a timestamp and you will be directed to the section which you are interested more to watch next. So let's go to settings section now. Let's go through settings section now. To access settings, quick settings, we can access from this drop-down list, and there is personal settings. We can also delete account or log out from our account. But the main settings section are based on sidebar, and it is settings there. So let's click on settings, and there is a couple of sections, 6 sections what we need to cover. So let's start with the company. So these settings are all about my company. Firstly, there is contact information and company type. Company type is a business type, so let's click there. And why I'm saying business type, because currently I'm a sole trader, but actually it is limited company. I just manually added it instead of searching for details from company's house. So I will amend it from drop-down list. You have option to select partnership, leave sole trader, or in my case I have limited company. Okay, if you have company number, you can enter there as well as VAT number and select country. Country, I have England in my case because I'm based in London. Okay, email address, I will have my positive Rita here at gmail.com as email address to get in touch with me. I can also provide phone number or contact person. Address details I already set up as part of my registration process. Don't forget to click save to keep changes updated. Okay, let's go back to settings. Next one is layout, logo and colors. So if you want to update logo, just make sure that if you add the logo and you want to use, at this moment we are on free package, mainly on trial package, so you have access, or I have access to all features on Bokio accounting software, but only on during free trial I will be able to use a logo on my invoices and documents. So if I will want to use it going forward, I will need to go for one of subscription packages. Yep. So I will upload logo. And there's my logo. Also I can select company color and where I want my address to be positioned, even left or on the right. I will keep it on the right. Okay. Next we have users. So this is a place where I can manage users of my accounting software. So if I want to invite, I need to log in again. So if I want to invite another user, I need to click on add user here, and then I can select which sections they will be able to access. Maybe I will have only someone looking after salaries and expenses, then I would select this section and add an email address and click send invitation. In this case I will not invite anyone, yeah. But there is a couple more options. So you can have you can have admin person, so you can invite admin. If you have an accountant or practice, you can invite the accountant by clicking here, or there is other, and you can select custom permissions for new users, yeah. So if I click on invite admin, so for admin all sections are selected. If I want to invite an accountant, access for accountant will be available once accountant will have an access, so mainly reporting and journals and etc. And under other you can select which particular sections this person will be able to access. Okay, I'm company owner, this is my details, and if I want I can also change an owner if needed. Okay, and there are all my permissions allowed. So if I want to edit, click on this pen, or if I want to delete, click on this delete pin. In my case I will click on edit, and I can see that I have everywhere access, and couple got like limited accesses. So I will click on this drop down list, and I can see that I cannot import any dates or manage those important dates, not import but on important dates. Yeah, I will leave that one as it is. Under salaries and expenses, there is approve payments, upload salaries, and salary settings, so mainly director salaries. I will keep all selected. Click save, and access would be amended for this active user. Okay, so let's go back to settings. We've got billing of Bokio services, also manage notifications. If you don't want to receive something or you want to receive emails, just deselect or select what you want to receive or what you don't want to receive. So, okay, preview features. So you can activate Stripe, and you can also activate command palette if you wish. Just click on activate and you will be able to add these features. And under order history, you will be able to see who have posted what, who have edited or changed something on system if you have especially multiple users. So order history might be useful to check what has been changed on system. Okay. Next section is accounting. In this section we can amend fiscal year, also add VAT settings if needed. So if I click on June 2021, I can see my start date and end date, and also information that I'm not registered for VAT, and I have no projected turnover, but that can be added and used if you wish to. Okay, so that's based on financial years. Okay, payment accounts. So here I have my current payment account. So I have company bank account, then there is employees private account, and they all got allocated as per chart of accounts, including PayPal account as well and cash account there. Okay, bank rules. So you can set up bank rules when you for example, bank fees getting automatically posted, or there is particular money what has been received or spent, then you can set up bank rules to quicker or automate process when bank reconciliations are conducted. Okay, custom bookkeeping templates. So there you can this is not available on free plan. We will need to go to business plan if you want to use bookkeeping templates. To create new template, click on create new template, and you can use this option here as well. Okay. Under accounting, one of the main and most important it's chart of accounts. If you need to do any changes or amendments, there is our chart of accounts. So if I click on fixtures and fittings, for example, that's 41, I can see details here. And if I need to create similar chart of account codes, and click copy account, and you'll be able to create a new. So for example, I'm now copying new account, and I can add new account number. System provides already available account numbers. I can add title and click save when I do that one. Okay. So if I need to create completely new account, click on create new account, select to which accounts this need to be selected. Maybe I will look at revenue, there is other income, or there is direct expenses, general expenses. So for example, I want to add something under other income, so I can connect as a sub account under this account. I can select number, system would provide, there is no possible available custom accounts. But if there would be, click on this drop down list and select codes, as well as adding description, and click save. Okay, so this list is provided. You cannot actually delete or change anything on this chart of accounts. It's system defaulted chart of accounts. You can only add new accounts if you wish to. So if you're looking at revenue codes, which should be group 4, by quickly looking, yeah. So we have already separate revenue or income codes for products and for services. So if you want to add a subcategory under sales products, like particularly noting what kind of product is there, maybe book, maybe there is chocolate, maybe there is clothing, so you can add subcategories numbering 4001, 4002 and etc. And the same applies for services. Yep. So this covers chart of accounts and where we can amend. So it's under settings and under accounting section. We can export accounting and receipts under this section. So if you need to export information or receipts, you can do it under here. And inbox, we can set up senders who can directly email us invoices to record. So click here and enable option here. Also, you can provide more details who else are allowed to email to Bokio accounting software. Okay. Invoices section, there is invoice and quote settings. So we can enable, for example, invoice terms, quote terms. So invoice terms, in my case, 7 days. And if I look at quote terms, I will give 7 days as well. There can be general terms provided, for example, for overdue interest. In my case, there isn't. I will put 0. And delivery, I will put 0. And okay, so that's about invoice terms and conditions, and if we apply any overdue interest. Next section is about numbering. So for example, I want to start customer numbering from 100. So first custom number will be 100 on system. So customer number, not invoice number. And this section is where I will provide an invoice number. So invoice number will be 101 and quote number in my case will be 51. Okay, and click Save Changes. Okay, confirm, and it's been saved. Okay. Next, under invoices are automatic recordings. So if you want to enable automatic recordings, you can set this here. Please be mindful that it's my fact creation of invoices and, as I said, register payments and settlement. So I will just leave as not enabled feature for me. Okay, and then there is payment methods, so it can be selected. So for example, for domestic payments I will have bank transfers, and I can add bank account name, so I will have Rita's Bank. I have account number and my sort code is 300086. And international payments I can set as well, like maybe IBAN, and then you can provide BIC and IBAN numbers there. Okay, and click Save Changes, of course. So salary, employer details can be provided. In that case, PAYE reference and accounts office reference and code tax reference need to be provided, plus HMRC user ID and HMRC password. So this need to be filled in and then connected to HMRC. Okay. Expense claims. So I can set an earliest bookkeeping date for expenses. In my case, this will be from 1st of June. That's when my business is registered, and update the date. And also we have another company card details, so I can add a credit card, so I can add card detail, for example, Rita's Bank, and I will put credit card. And I can allocate to employees when I will have employees added to my employee list. We will cover it in the next section. Okay. So almost last section is imports. So if you are moving from one accounting software to another one, then you can use this option to add an opening balances. Otherwise, as I'm first time user of Bokio accounting software, I have no opening balances. And at the same time, if you have opening balances for trade debtors or trade creditors, you will be able to import unpaid customer or supplier invoices on Bokio accounting software if you move from different accounting software, maybe from spreadsheets to Bokio accounting software. So there is option to import information instead of manually adding. And last section is about accounts, so personal settings. This is my email address and my details. I can add a phone number if I wish to. And also, if I look, there is another option to change password. I can update my email address if I have decided to change it. Also, I can enable two-factor authentication, export data, maybe leave company, or in worst case scenario, delete company if I don't want to use Bokio. Okay, and if I look more on this section, so this covered all settings, but if I look on integrations, we will touch up. We can actually enable settle by PayPal or Stripe, so there will be e-payments allowed to complete when you issue invoices to customers and etc. So you can integrate with Bokio these two options, but please make sure that they are free during trial. Once trial will expire, these are one of the subscription packages. Yeah, just check which package you would need to go for then. Okay, so this covers settings now. So for every attendee of course, we actually provide notepads and pens. And for today's course, I actually ran out of notepads, what I would often order from a suppliers. So I popped in a stationery store and I purchased notepads and pens. So how I can claim these back from a business? Also, I'm the director and owner of this company and I'm the only employee at the moment. So how I can add myself as an employee to Bokio accounting software and claim receipts as business expenses? Let's have a look at next two sections called staff and expense claims. So now let's have a look at employees, including directors, and expense claims. There is two sections on sidebar, staff and salaries, and it's split in directors payroll beta test, my payslips, and employees. So let's go first to employees. Currently there are two employees, but to add a new employee we have two options. Either we can add a new director, or when we click on these three dots we can add a new employee. So let's add a new employee. For example, I have Lucy Brown, and I can provide an email address. I need to provide also bank details, so for example, and bank code, and click save. So now Lucy has been added there, and there is my details provided below. So if I click, I'm under employment number 1 and I'm a director. So if I need to edit details, I can click on edit, and then I can edit director details, what I have provided. I can edit employment details, what I have entered, and also I can amend taxes, what I have recorded. So if I need to add new director, I need to click on new director button here, and I have options. Either I want to create new director for myself, add or convert existing employee to a director. So click on, when I select, I can select from drop down list and I have only Lucy, what I can convert to a director, or I can add completely new director not on my employee list. Second point will be added details about director, so name, surname, date of birth, national insurance number, gender and address. Step 3 will be employment details, which includes employee number, start date, payroll interval, so it means annually or monthly how this person will get paid, and what is normal weekly hours, so how many hours they have worked. From drop down list can be selected there. Under taxes, you will need to fill in details if this is the first job or there is without P45 or with P45. Is this currently their only job or they have another job? Plus, you need to provide tax code and if there be any other previous taxable pay up to date, and you need to fill in the details as well. You can find those from P45 if I have that, if they have left previous job and they starting role in this company, for example. And there is national insurance category, letters which need to be selected, and then it's based from information what will be provided there. And then if this person also need to repay student loans, then you can add student loan information there. On 5th stage, you will be able to connect individual or invite this director to a system to be the Bokio user. Okay, so this is a way how we can add new employees as well as directors. Now, once we have added our employees, so in my case I have my account as well, I can add expense claims. So it has split in 4 sections. So my claims and my payments. I can review all expense claims if I have full visibility about all employees who have claimed, and also looked on permissions and update those. So if I click on permissions, I can see that Lucy have no option to upload or do payments, nor Rita as an employee haven't got access to uploads or payments. There is another my account. I'm the owner of this Bokio accounting software, so I have a permission to upload and confirm payments. Okay, so let's add my expense claims first. Okay, so to add new expense claim, we need to click on new expense claim here, and when we hover above this table or field, we can upload an expense. So in this case, I will add a receipt I have for £54 there, and it will be for notepads, pens, and some stationery for our office. So system will process image and will try to read information from a receipt. So at this moment it's read only one amount, but it's actually 54. So I can update amount there. So okay, something happens there, £54. I can select employee who is claiming. In my case, it's me who is claiming. I can add details. So I have materials for course, notepads, pens, etc. Okay. And I can also add a payment date. So in this case, payment date is 5th. Okay, and click submit expense. Now I can click I'm done, but that would not record this receipt still on a system. So I need to actually record this receipt. Record by allocate to correct cost category. And system already gives most likely available codes where this receipt need to be coded. So you can type in information here and search for example, stationery, if that would be for office. So there is office supplies and stationery, and any other possible available codes to select. So in my case, it was materials for course. So I will say as a materials purchased. Okay. And I can add more details in comment section if I'm happy with information here. I can also add, for example, expense claim form which need to be filled in, can be added there as well. And then click next. This provides a journal entry, so there will be £54 due by company to employee, and also it records £54 under cost of sales materials under this cost code. So it will show up in profit and loss statement as an expense, direct expense to business. Okay, and click record. Okay, now I can record next or click done. So if I will record next, I will have an option to record second one. So I have fuel receipt uploaded here. So question is what I purchased. I will search by petrol, and there is motor vehicle fuel available. I can add more comments, click next, and this will be recorded and I will record. Okay, so this is a way how we can add staff and their directors, how we can record expense claims, and if we want to also report directors' payroll, then then directors will need to be, my business will need to be set up to be able to report or record this payroll. To do so, we will need to provide PAE reference, accounts office reference, as well as code tax reference, and then add user ID, HMRC user ID and password, and click save and continue. So that means that HMRC my account would be linked to HMRC to report information as part of payroll about directors. Okay, so if we go to above section to things to do, there are all these expenses which can be scheduled for a payment. If I go back to my expense claims and click on all expense claims, there is all expense available that need to be repaid to employees. And when I click on payments, if I have multiple employees, I can deselect and select to which ones I want to schedule for a payment. And for example, if I schedule for a payment on yesterday, I can click on schedule 2 for manual payments, and I can record payment and select from which account it was paid. So if I used credit card account, or maybe I used cash account. So in my case, I used a credit card account, and I will register and record. Okay, so now when I go to my expenses, there is one still outstanding which have been not recorded yet. So this has been not paid. Okay, so this covers expense claims, employees and directors. Before I start my course, I can list down items what I need to actually purchase. So I need to purchase definitely notepads and pens. Okay, and I think so I needed also some stationery to purchase, like copying paper and etc. Stationery paper, okay. And oh yeah, right, my printer broke this morning, so I need to actually buy new printer as well. So printer, okay, so I need to order all these things, and of course I will receive supplier invoices or bills as known. So how I can add new suppliers as well as record supplier invoices on Bokio accounting software. Let's have a look at next section called suppliers and purchases. How to add suppliers as well as record purchases, like supplier invoices. We need to go to left hand side on sidebars, there is suppliers and purchases section. And firstly we will add a couple new suppliers. Click on suppliers here, and to add a new supplier, either we can click on new supplier here, or if you have a list of suppliers, then click on these 3 dots and we can import our suppliers. So if you have a whole list of suppliers available, you can import them there. I will show you how you can add one by one manually. So click on new supplier. Here we need to fill in contact card of this supplier. It's quite straightforward. Add name. If this company is registered with Companies House, you can get company information from Companies House, and all details below will automatically be filled in with the information that is available on Companies House. So in my case, I have Products Limited, company number, okay, and it hasn't got what number, so I will not enter it here. Address details, Green Street, okay, and it's UK. So if I want to enable to receive draft invoices already and record it on Bokio accounting software, I also can activate an e-invoices option there if I wish to. Okay, and click add supplier. So Products Limited have been added now. So next one I have Materials Limited and Print Limited to add. So let's quickly add those as well. Okay, now we have added suppliers, but these are my product or printing, like Print Limited are the one who is printing my books, but also there is suppliers like for rent or electricity, so I need to add those ones as well. So to add, it's the same way, we would need to click on new supplier and add those to our list. Okay, so now how I can actually add a supplier invoices. we need to go and click on Supplier Invoices section, and here we can create a new or add new invoice by clicking on New Invoice. We can fill in details here, but to make our life easier, we can upload receipt or invoice or choose from uploaded receipt. So that's been uploaded in our system already. I'm keeping in the cloud. So I will upload receipt or invoice. So in my case, I have invoice from, let's say, Electro Limited in first place. So this is a new supplier. What is good about Bokio is that it will provide you details on this side section, so you can actually either add new supplier and fill in details. So I have Electro Limited, for example, so I will click Electro Limited. So add company number. Okay. I will add supplier, so it adds information there. And now I can add an invoice date. So invoice date is issued 1st 08. So I will select 1st of August. And due date is provided already there. So I can click on this 0708 and select date there. Okay. Next one, SAM is 200. System have read already. And invoice number is actually this one. So INV 202207 RK. Okay, and I can click create and continue. Now I need to select where this invoice need to be posted, and it is monthly electricity. So I will put as electricity, and there is electricity costs code provided on system. I'm happy with all information here, and I will click next. So now it provides a journal entry, and I will record the supplier invoice on my books. Okay, I can register payment if I have paid and I know when I have paid, so I can register payment already, or I can click done. Okay, so let's add next supplier invoice, new invoice, upload receipt, and I will have invoice for products 25674. And this is invoice for my office printer. So I will select from my drop-down list my supplier. Invoice date is 1st 08. And due date is the same date, 1st 08. And amount is 350. Invoice number is INV 256740. Okay, I will create and continue. Now I need to select what this relates to, and actually this is my asset. So office printer will be asset to my company. So I will say equipment, and there is office equipment and IT, and its system already advises that this is a fixed asset. Do I want to record it as a fixed asset? And I will say yes, I want to record as fixed asset. Make sure that you tick this box, okay? And click next. So this would record fixed asset for 350 and also 350 as due to products limited for this invoice, okay? And I will click record. So now entry has been completed. However, on the right hand side there is this section which we need to fill in details about this fixed asset. So there is details about fixed asset which was read directly from system, which is good. Now I need to select lifetime of my printer. I will select I can select 3 years, or I can select custom. Under custom lifetime I will select 2 years. They're saying at least at 3. Okay, I will select 3 years. They're not allowing 2 years. And depreciation frequency is a yearly, and it's straight line method. So if I click on custom, I need to provide, for example, if it's 6, 7, 9 or 10 years maybe useful life. In my case it is 3 years. Okay, and I will save details. So now this asset has been registered on my accounting software, so on my Bokio. Okay, next one, if I need to add another supplier invoice, the same way, I can add new invoice. I will upload invoice so it's easier for me to follow details. And there is materials invoice for notebooks, pens, and like pens and pencils. Okay, so I will choose materials, and date will be invoice date is of 1st/08 and due date is actually 15/08. Amount is 555 and invoice number is M225556. Okay, and create and continue. So now these are my materials for my courses, so I will select materials purchased and I will click next. Okay, journal entry will record this one on system and I can register payment, or I can click done. So I will register payment and I will register payment from my company bank account, and I have paid for this one on 12 and it's payment to supplier for 555 and I will register payment. Okay, so click register payment. Okay, it's done. Okay, so there is still 2 invoices what are showing that need to be paid. So in this section I covered how you can add new suppliers and as well as record supplier invoices. My email is busy. There is so many requests to purchase my just recently released book about health and safety. Also, I can see I have an inquiry to provide an estimate for a risk assessment for a particular company, and plus I have some inquiries from current attendees who are attending level 4 health and safety course. They want to take on level 5 health and safety course as well and become accredited instructors. So how I can add new customers, issue invoices, issue estimates, and if they are approved, how I can convert these estimates to an invoices, how I can set up recurring invoices for trainees who want to take level 5 course, and in case if I need to issue a credit note, how we can do this one from Bokio accounting software. So let's have a look at invoicing section next. Now let's have a look at invoicing section. Lots of to cover in this section. Let's start firstly by adding new customers. So on left hand side on sidebar there is invoicing section and there is 5 sections to cover. Firstly, let's add customers first. Okay, let's click on customers. To add a new customer, let's make it look like so. To add a new customer, we need to click on new customer, or if you have a list already available, you can actually import customers. Once you will have full list of customers, you will be also able to export those. So let's add new customer. Here we need to provide the details, even if this will be a corporation or individual. So if this will be corporation, we need to fill in details here, and there is a field marked which need to be definitely filled in. So must be filled in means that you need to provide details here, okay? And at the bottom we can provide also contact details as well as apply different terms, payment terms if needed. Okay, so let's start from the top. Firstly, I will add a corporation. I have company called Business Limited. They are the ones who are looking forward to get a quote for risk assessment. Okay, I need to provide company number. If this business is registered with company's house, you can actually get company info by clicking on this search loop or icon, and it will allow you to select the company which you are actually trying to invoice and fill in details automatically. In my case, I will add details manually. So add company number, VAT number if it's registered for VAT. Okay, and it will start with GB. Okay. Customer number if you want to use, otherwise system will automatically allocate one. I will leave blank for my case. Okay, we need to provide address details, so I will have business close, postcode 3BB. Okay, and city I will have North Town. Okay. Contact details, I can provide contact person, email address and phone number. I will provide email address so I can distribute quote from a system. Okay, I provided my email address so I can send it out, but you use your customer's email address. Okay. Payment terms, if I want to change, I can change it here. Otherwise, leave as you have defaulted in your system settings. So in my system settings, I have defaulted to 7 days. Okay, and there is no interest payments nor delivery. If this will be a foreign customer, you can click on this like a triangle, and then you can select different country if you need to send quote or invoices to customer abroad. Okay, and click save. So now we have added customer here. If I click on this customer, I can see details about this customer. So I can also issue invoices, add cash invoice, recurring invoice and credit note. Under 3 dots, I can edit this customer if I need to, for example, change address details, or maybe I need to change an email address. Also, I can delete this customer or download data if I need to. So how I can add individuals. So I went back to my customers, click on new customer, and now I need to add individuals, the ones who actually are taking on my health and safety course training, so to become health and safety instructors or trainers. So click on individual, and now we need to fill in the information of this individual. So I have John Smith. If you have customer number, what if you would use add customer numbers there? As I said, system would automatically allocate. So I had 100 for business limited, so for John will be 102 allocated. I need to provide address details, so I will have so I have added address details, and if I want, I can add also contact details. If you don't provide email address, you will be not able to distribute emails out to customers out of Bokio accounting software. Okay, and then there is also payment terms option. So for example, they need to pay immediately, then change to 0 and click save. Okay, so now I have added 2 customers, business limited and John Smith. As well as adding new customers here, you will be also able to add new customers when you issue quotes or invoices. So not only going to just customers and adding this. Okay, so next step, we would need to issue invoice or quote. However, there is another section called items. We can make our life easier by adding items on this list, and later to just select from drop-down list and product or service what we provide, and it will pre-fill details in our invoices or quotes. So to add a new item, click on new item here, or we can also import items or export at a later time if needed. So let's click on a new item, and we need to provide product code. So for example, I will have service. I can add item name here. So for example, I have risk assessment. Price, in my case, for a risk assessment, I have £1,200. And I can select a unit of measure. So either it's days, hours, months, or etc. In my case, it is days. Yeah, select one which is applicable or appropriate to you. Okay, and in my case, I'm not VAT registered business, so there is not VAT involved. And item type, it is service in my case. Yeah, and I will click save. So now I have added first service, risk assessment. I will add next one, service number 2. I will have health and safety training. I will say, let's select level 4 firstly, and I have price per month, so I will say unit in months, and training course for 1 month I have 1,450, and it's in months, and item type is service. Okay, and click save. So if I need to add product, for example, I have my product, so I can select product code as product 1, and I have health and safety book, okay, including workbook. My price per book is £120, and it is in pieces, so I'm selling in units or in pieces. There is no VAT, and item type is goods in this case, and click save. So now I have added goods, and I also added services. Okay, so if I click on 3 dots, I can edit item or completely delete this item. Okay, so now I can issue quote for risk assessment. So how I can do it? Click on quote section and click on create a quote. Under 3 dots, there is option to change settings for quotes if you wish to, if you haven't set up settings in first place. Okay, so let's click on create a quote. So to create a quote, this is free during my trial. However, it will be if I want to use quotes, it will be one of the subscription packages if I want to use it going forward. Okay, so I can edit details about my business if I need to. I already aligned my settings, so I'm happy with my business details. Now I need to select my customer. So in my case, my customer is business limited, but if I will need to add a new customer, I can click on create new and fill in details either about corporation or either individual. Okay, so in my case, I will have a business limited. Okay, so all details are pulled through. I can edit customer or change customer if I want to. Okay, so now I need to add a services or products. I will add new row, and from this row I need to select what I want to allocate. In my case, this is risk assessment, so quote for risk assessment, and there's 3 days for risk assessment to be completed. So if this will be completely new item, you can click save as item and it will be added to your item list. Okay, so I will click add to quote. There is my risk assessment line provided there. If I click on that triangle, I can amend details if I need to. Okay, I can edit still line. For example, I want to change currency, or maybe I want to add VATs, and click on this edit and you will be able to amend. So if you need to add new row, click on add new row and select from the description line what you need to add there. Maybe shipping costs, then just create new and you will be able to add that item. Okay, so this shows the total amount to pay will be 3,600. Details are provided there. Additional information can be added. For example, files can be attached, or if I click on additional information, I can add additional fields and add like references, delivery address, and etc. if needed. Okay, terms, so quote date in my case will be 8 and valid to 15 is automatically picked up by system. Now I have option to look at delivery method. Either I can email to customer or I can download as PDF. Before I select one of those, I can also preview as PDF or save as a draft this quote. In my case, I want to distribute out to customers, that means email out to customer. There is email address provided, and I want to send quote as a link to the PDF, or I want to send quote as a link and attach PDF. So select one of the options, okay? And if you need to include personal message, tick this box and add personal message here, okay? So we can preview as PDF before we send out. So there is our PDF. This is how the quote looks like, okay, including details below. And if I go back, I can send and publish. Okay, it will be quote number 51 as I set up in my settings, and I will click continue. Okay, so now this quote has been sent out and quote numbers 51 out to Business Limited. Okay, so if Business Limited will come back with their decision, either approve or decline, one can be selected. So for example, if they will decline, we can decline this quote. If I go to quotes, I can see under all quotes that this quote has been declined. So if I click on it, I can actually, under these three dots, change the state of this quote. So for example, I want to change to approved. For example, if by mistake I clicked on decline, so you can still change the status. So I will click on approve, click change, and now I have option to create invoice from quote, and also from drop down list I have option to create invoice from this quote. Okay, so I will convert it to an invoice. Okay, so now create an invoice. There is the details. If I want, I can change or edit information or change this description line if needed. Okay, if I'm happy with all details, I can download the PDF and publish, download and publish. Okay, 101, continue, and yes, record don't record automatically. Okay. So now if I go to my invoices section, this invoice is published there, and if I go to my quotes, under all quotes, I can see that status has changed to invoice now. Okay, so let's close this one. So how we can issue invoices? So to issue invoices we have a couple options. So I went to invoices section now. Okay, before I issue invoices, I need to record this one. So I need to record the posting of this invoice. So I will click record now. So invoice 101 is actually recorded and will show him into my report. So I will click record and done. It's because I decided not to automatically allow system to record every invoice. So every invoice what I will create, I will need to always record it into system. Okay, so now how we can add a new invoice? We can add in a new invoice by clicking on this. Also, we have option to add a new cash invoice, or if you need to issue credit notes or recurring invoices. So let's add new invoice for my book sales. Firstly, from drop down list I can select my customers, but I cannot see on list customer who have purchased the book. So I will create a new customer, and in this case it will be individual, and it will be Sarah T. Okay, I will have address. And click save. Okay, so Sarah have been added here, and to issue invoice we need to add a row. So we need to select what I'm selling. In my case I'm selling my health and safety book, and Sarah have purchased 2 books from me, and I will add to invoice these lines. If I want, I can also add a text line. This will not contribute towards the total amount. So for example, I have return form emailed separately. Okay, and I can add this comment to an invoice, and it will show below my line of this one. Under 3 dots we have option to add from time tracking if we are using time tracking information there. Okay, also we can provide additional information and attach files, select an invoice, date of an invoice, and due date was 15. Okay, so now when I scroll a little bit down, if I want, I can select a payment method, edit it, or change it to different. Okay, and now I have option to email to customer. I didn't provide that email address, so I can provide it here if I wish to, or maybe I actually downloaded from system and handed it physically to her in hands. In my case that's what happened, and I can now download and publish. Okay, invoice has been downloaded, so we can actually print this invoice out and hand it upon time when it has been purchased. Okay, so if I go back to my invoices, I need to manually record this invoice on my books. So I click record, and this is done. Okay, this has been recorded. So this way how we can create invoices, and this is how we can record quotes and convert to invoices. How we can set up recurring invoices. So for example, I need to go to recurring invoice section and to create a recurring invoice. So in my case, for level 5 course, I need to click on new recurring invoice. Here, okay, let's scroll to top section. I need to select customer. So in my case, I had John. Okay, system is picking up details about John. Okay, so there's the details about John. I can add a new row. In my case, I will select training course, but I will amend this training course to level 5 and I will click create new. So now I can provide details. So level 5 will be one quantity, month, and price is 1,650. It's the last level of health and safety training, and it is services and save as item and add to invoice. Okay. So now I have level 5 training for 1 month, 1,650. I can add additional information or attach any support files if required. Now there is option to fill in details about frequencies. This is recurring invoice. So recurring invoice settings, I need to add a detail. So date of next invoice should be actually on 1st of September, and it will recur, or frequency will be every month on a first date, so monthly on date 1. Okay, so a draft invoice will be created on monthly, so it will show up in invoices as a draft, and you will be able to convert it to an invoice and distribute out to a customer. Okay, so I'm happy with my payment method details, what is selected. If you want to enable Stripe or any other e-payment methods, you can do it, and then you can change this payment method here. Okay, and click recurring, create recurring invoice. Okay, so if I go to recurring invoices, there is active recurring invoice for John Smith for the course of level 5 of my health and safety course, level 5. So okay, so now we have invoices, recurring invoices, quotes covered, but how I can issue credit notes? So firstly, to issue a credit note, so for example, Sarah said that she actually purchased 1, but invoice was issued for 2, or maybe she returned 1 book because it was not required. So how we can issue a credit note? There is an option to issue credit note. Either we can issue credit note from here, so from invoices section, drop down list, click new credit note, but then we will need to select already existing invoice to which we want to allocate this credit note. So for example, I selected invoice 102. If we go to invoices section, and for example, I need to delete this one. Okay. For example, I go to invoices section and there is Sarah invoice. So if I click there, I can under 3 dots issue credit note. Okay, so either you can start new credit note and allocate to invoice, or you can go directly from invoice and start to issue credit note from here. So connection to invoice 102, it will be for Sarah, and now I can amend details. So in my case, I need to amend and say that credit note should be for 1 item and click update. Okay, so it's 120 dropped. Fine, I'm happy with details. Update credit note information. Okay. Okay, and I will download as PDF, and I will publish this this credit note in this case. Okay, so this is a credit note, and it's been invoiced to Sarah. And there is 102 credit invoice 102. Okay, so if I go to invoices and if I look on Sarah now, I can register payment, and actually I have only 120 left to clear out for Sarah's invoice, because there has been a credit note registered for by 103, that is a credit note what was allocated to this invoice. Okay, record invoice, record. So I will allocate this payment and I will say done. Okay, so if I go to invoices, click on Sarah, and if I go down, oh, it's still showing 240. That's quite interesting, but it's showing 120 to payment here. Okay, so when I go to things to do, there is only 120 outstanding. It's showing here that only 120 Sarah should have paid to me, and I know that she paid in cash, so I can actually register payment, select cash account, and I can select the date when she actually paid. It was on 15, and I will register payment. Okay, so record payment, record, and it has been done. Okay, so this has been cleared now out. Okay, so now we covered in this section items, how to add customers, how to issue quotes, as well as convert quotes to an invoices when we have received approval, as well as issuing or recording invoices and recurring invoices and marking as paid if we have received money, and allocating credit notes if, for example, we need to issue credit note. Do you know how to post journals, how to manage your fixed assets and run depreciation, and what is the year-end process on Bokio accounting software? Don't worry guys, I will guide you through in next section, which is called accounting, and we will cover journals, which will cover money related journals and non-money or non-monetary related journals, supplier invoices we covered in supplier section, so I will skip it. And also we will look at fixed assets register and how to run depreciation. Plus, I should not forget, at the end of tax year or financial year, there is year-end process, and I will guide you through that one as well. It's simple, it's straightforward, and Bokio actually provides details how to do it. So let's have a look at next section called accounting. Let's look at accounting section, right? So on sidebar on left hand side, there is accounting section, and it covers three sections what I mentioned: journals, year-end closures, and fixed assets. So let's have a look at journals. So if you need to add a journal, so all these transactions are invoices issued or invoices recorded on system, including also expenses, as you can see, yeah? So all those what we recorded will be classed as a journals. So to record a new journal, on this drop-down list we can upload receipt or invoice, or without receipt record some kind of transactions if we need to. So to record journal, click on record, and now we have option to select if we want to record money out journal, money in journal, non-money related journals. Maybe we need to do adjustment, for example, to recognize costs in correct places because they've been posted incorrectly, or maybe we just need to post a standard journal, maybe like a payroll journal, or some contributions if they're made. Or last, we can also record supplier invoice. Supplier invoice we have already covered in suppliers and purchases section. This is like invoice received after purchasing a product or service. If needed, then under journals you can record that one as well. So for example, money out journal, this we can record, for example, if credit card expense payment have been made, so we can record a money out. I will click next. I can select receipt, so for example I will upload receipt on invoice. So in my case I would have a receipt for materials. I will open it. Okay, I can select materials purchased. Amount is actually $33.55, and I can select payment date. So payment date was 1st, and I can select an account. This was credit card sale, so I can select from drop-down list credit card account, okay? And it is materials purchased for business use. I can add more details in comment section. If I need to add any additional receipts relating to this transaction, I can add another page by clicking on this plus add page, okay? Click next, and journal will be recorded. One side going to credit card account and 33.55 will go to cost of sales, and click record. Okay, so now journal entry being recorded for this credit card receipt payment. Okay, I will click done. If I go back to accounting and go to journals, click record. I can record also money in. Money in I can record, for example, if I have daily cash sales, so I will click next. I can say what did I sell, so I can say book. And there is royalties and commissions received. In my case, it should be as sales of products, so sales of goods. I can select an amount, so for example, amount was £80, and I can record this one as an invoice if I wish to, or just a cash sale. So payment date, in my case I had 11th, account number, it will be cash, I received money in cash, sales of goods, click next, and this will be journal entry which will record £80 going into my cash account and £80 increasing my revenue or turnover or income by £80 as well. I can still edit this journal entry if I want, plus I can upload receipt or invoice or any other information to support this transaction and click record. Okay, so journal entry being recorded. But if we need to post a journal which is non-monetary related, so for example I need to do maybe manual adjustment or correction between accounts after reviewing reports, general ledger maybe, then non-money related journals we can post by clicking on non-money and click next. So in my case, for example, it was pension contribution, which is not falling under any of invoices or receipts side, so I can post this journal. So I will select is there pension, okay, I will click manual. So the title will be pension contribution, okay, date of this journal, in my case it is 15, and I can select account, and then I need to select debit or credit. So account, I will search by pension, so I have current liability pension, and in this case it will be liability until I have actually paid it out of my bank account. So liability, what is paid behalf of director, is 250, and of course I want to record also costs, so in profit and loss statement under cost side, so I will search by pension, and there is overheads under salaries, there is employer's pension or director's pension paid. In my case it's director's pension paid, 250 in my case. You can provide more information if required, otherwise just delete other lines. This is journal entry just to give you an insight how you can post non-money related journal entries. Okay, I can provide more details if required. I have already provided pension contribution, but if I want to provide more details, so for example I want to provide details of July 2022, okay, and preview and record. This is a journal entry, I'm happy with information, and I will record it and click done. Okay, so if I go to my journals, I can see all details, all journals being posted there. Okay, so now talking about year-end closure. So year-end closure, at this moment there is nothing active or happening because this is current year. So I will need to go to upcoming section, and this financial year will finish 31st of May next year. So next year this will be the process what I will need to follow, and there is a checklist what you will need to make sure that you have followed step by step, or you have reached out to someone who can advise you, either using Bokio support advice, or maybe you want to use external resources to help you to make sure that all these points are actually reviewed. So this is a checklist. Once you are happy with all these points and you have followed them and you have ticked out of your list, then you can close the year by clicking on close year. Yep. So quite simple and straightforward, and thank you to Bokio. They provide what you need to keep an eye on and what you need to make sure that you have done. The first point is review fixed assets and ensure that all depreciation and disposals have been recorded. And under accounting, we have fixed assets section. So here, as you can see, I have already one fixed asset added, and this was the fixed asset what I purchased, and that is my printer, because my old printer broke, so I purchased new one. And when I recorded a supplier invoice, it was also giving me option to record this one as asset in my fixed asset register. To add a new fixed asset, we can click on import fixed asset, and we will need to fill in details including description, category, so where this need to fall. So for example, if there is fixtures and fittings, maybe there is like tables, maybe boardroom tables or meeting room tables with the chairs, so they can be fixtures and fittings falling under. Yeah, you need to select the lifetime, so lifetime 3, 4, 5 years. Quite interesting that there is 2 years not available. Then you need to select definitely purchase date, purchase amount, and accumulated depreciation. For example, if this asset have been actually used in previous years as well, okay, then there would be accumulated depreciation. If it's new asset, just put 0 as accumulated depreciation. Frequency is years, and depreciation method is straight line method. You cannot change these ones. These ones are defaulted by accounting software Bokio, okay? And then we can connect journal entries and import fixed assets. At the year end, we'll be able actually to run depreciation, and by clicking on depreciate. So at this moment there is nothing to depreciate. I will be able to depreciate at the end of current fiscal year, which is financial year. So at this moment these are all details about my asset what I have registered. So this covers journals, year-end process or closures, as well as fixed assets. I have 3 money accounts. I have current bank account, I have credit card account, and also I have cash account. And I just arrived from my bank because I actually went and deposited some cash. I still left a little bit of cash in case if some urgent purchases come up, and of course I can use credit card as well for those. So how I can reconcile my bank or any other money accounts, including credit card and my cash account, on the Bokio accounting software. There is an option to enable automated bank feeds. In that case, transactions would be pulled from my bank account automatically on a regular basis into my Bokio accounting software. But in this case, I want to do it manually. So how I can upload statements manually on Bokio accounting software? Let's have a look on next section called bank feeds. Let's reconcile my bank account. The same approach will apply also to credit card account and cash account. If you want to enable automated bank feeds, we need to go to left-hand side on sidebar. There is bank feeds section. Under it, we have 2 options, bank accounts and transactions to reconcile. To enable bank feeds, we need to go to bank accounts. Either you can connect to your bank account by clicking on this icon, or if you want to know step by step, there is step-by-step advised, and you can connect to your bank account. I will show you how you can manually upload statements. So for example, if you want to, it doesn't matter which account you select, there is nothing uploaded and nothing being reconciled for these accounts. So for example, if I select credit card account, I will click import manually, but then I realize that actually I want to upload manually statement for my bank account, then just amend here to which account you want to upload information to. Either you can let Bokio to guess, or if you are using one of the statements from financial institution, what I mentioned here, select those here, okay? So I will let Bokio guess, and you do not need to actually download statements from your bank account. You can actually copy information of the bank statement from your online bank as it mentions there. In my case, I have downloaded my CSV file here and upload it on Drive, so I will copy information from here and I will paste it in this box, okay? And I will click continue. Now there is a couple of information columns. So firstly, if I want to add to my import files, I need to tick all of these. If it shows as a duplicate, might happen on system, it will show that there is duplicate and it's been actually deleted previously, and or it's been like system maybe error, who knows, okay? Since there is a date, amount column, message, and ignore is actually balance of my statement. It's 5,304.31. Balance taken from here, okay? So that's what my bank should balance at the end of when reconciliation is completed. So I will select these points, also these points, and I'm happy to import this statement. I will click yes, import, 14 rows have been imported, and I will click on view account. Okay, so now transactions record is where my uploaded statements are showing up, and there is a multiple matches for transactions already for a payment to allocate. So firstly, there is payment from products limited. If I select this transaction, there is already match for this amount of 500, and I can easily just match with this journal entry. Okay, next one, there is cash deposit. I can actually create a bank rule for any cash deposits. So click on create bank rule, fill in details. So rule name is cash deposit. I can add the conditions. So for example, description contains cash deposit, and in my case it doesn't matter, amount will change. Yeah, so I will remove second one. So if condition of if description contains cash deposit, what action need to be taken? So in this case it will be money in, and I can select this one where this money comes in, and it will be as a bank transfer. Okay, and it will be in my bank account, main account. Okay, and I will click save. So I actually created a bank rule for this one, and I can automatically record based on bank rule, and I will click record transaction. Okay, there is 500. Something happened with system. Okay, other way is to record manually. I will select cash, so search by cash, and cash reduced by 500, and record transaction. Okay, next one. Okay, there's some errors in the system. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, let's do again. So now next one is invoice paid to events, 500. I can record it by allocating to sales of good, or look at other templates, or click manual. So there is an option to do so. There is credit card transfer. So in this case I can create a bank rule for any credit card payments if needed. So just create bank rule, and if it's called as a credit card transfer, this needs to be recorded as a credit card transfer rule, credit card payment, and it's money out, and I will search template to credit card. So pay off credit card, this one. Okay, and click save. So now if I will select this transaction, I will record transaction, and this has been posted automatically. Okay, next one I have print. there is 2 entries and I need to look for 1700. This date is 22nd, so the 22nd transaction is journal entry there, so I will match with that journal entry. Next one is 1700, 1908, so 1908, and I will match with this entry. So it's quite simple and straightforward to record. Now I have paid out payment to Print Limited. There is 19th recorded, so I will match with that one. Laura, there is Laura paid already supplier invoice 2208, 1908, or paid 3 days later, and I will match with this transaction. Okay. Next one is invoice paid by Events Limited. They have paid a deposit, so from 8,400 they paid 5,000 deposit, and it's been already recorded as a payment. Okay, that's matched. I have paid the rent of 1,200. There is payment recorded on supplier account. So quite easily to match if you have already marked as a payment. So just match with journal entries. Okay. So there is bank fees. I can create a bank rule, so I will create a bank rule. So I will have bank fees, and if bank fees contains bank fee, I can another condition contains or equals to £15. So my bank fees are actually £15, so it doesn't change. Action is money out, and I will say bank fees. So I'm looking for bank fees. Okay, so money out, and I need to look for bank charges and fees, and I will click save. So if I select now, I created bank rule, money out, it will be recorded the bank charges and fees. I will click save. There is bank rule set up, so now when I select bank fees, I can actually record this transaction based on that rule. And there is events payment 500, invoice by events. Okay, so let's go to invoicing, and there's something for 500. I haven't got invoices. Okay, so let's go to customers, look at Events Limited, and I have an option to record cash invoice, new recurring invoice, or new credit note. So in this case, if I go back to my bank transactions, there is 500 received from Events Limited, and they paid on a day, so that's the sales of good. And there is invoice paid by Events, amount 500, and I can record this transaction. Okay, done. So now if I go back to my bank account, the date of last row 22nd/08, so statements are updated up to 22nd/08, 2022. And if I go to look at quickly at general ledger, then if I look at my bank account, so bank account is 5,304.31, and my bank is 5,304.31. So this balances to my bank account. The same I will do on my credit card account and on my cash account. So this is a way how we can upload bank statements manually, also where you can enable automated bank feeds if you need to, and how we can reconcile our bank accounts. So I have reconciled my bank account as well as my cash account, and it all balances. Now I want to find out how well actually I have performed in past period. I want to find out, most importantly, if I have made a profit or maybe I have made a loss. But not only I will look at profit and loss statement, but also other reports, and we can find them all under section called reports. Let's have a look now. Report section. So what we can access on our report section. So on sidebar on left hand side we have report section, and here we have 6 reports what we can access. So firstly, if you are VAT registered business, you will see your VAT returns here as well. Then we can access and view our invoices report. So if I scroll down, So we can see top 5 items, what we have sold. So risk assessment is number 1, then there is training course, how much I have earned, and book sales including discount. Top 5 customers are my events limited, business, and Laura who purchased course. Okay, then we can of course check time frame. If we want to look at last month only, then we can see last month there, and also we can only look at custom selection. So for example, I'm selecting only first 4 customers, and in that case I can see details for them. Okay, next one, there is age debtors report. On age debtors report I can see who own money still to me. I can select the date, for example balance due as of, if I'm looking on today, or balance due as on 31st, click update, and I will be able to see, when I click on this triangle I can see details, for example invoice number, when was invoiced, when is the due date, and what is the amount and what is remaining, because maybe they have paid already deposit of that invoice. The same is about John Smith, and the same is about Laura. So actually Laura's invoice was for 3k, almost 3,020 pounds, and there is only remaining balance of 1,510, so she actually paid half of that invoice. Okay, so that's what we can see under age debtors. Okay, then we have balance sheet report. Under balance sheet report, firstly we can look at show decimals, or we can decide just show round numbers. We can select to show inactive accounts if we want to use so. Under 3 dots we have option to download this balance sheet as PDF or export as Excel if you wish to, and of course they're all narrowed to bigger groups. So for example fixed assets 350, that's my printer, and if I expand it I can see under which category which asset falls. And the same is about current assets, so we can see under current assets I have trade debtors, persons who owns money to you. In my bank account I have 5,300 plus minus, and cash is 180. Looking at liabilities and equity, I own my trade creditors 3,450, that's what I haven't paid yet, and also 250 for pension contributions that haven't been deducted or removed as part of direct debit from my account yet. Okay, and then there is equity, which includes retained earnings. Okay, so this is balance sheet. There is another report which would give more detailed breakdown, and it is general ledger. So when I look on general ledger, of course we can custom interval and look at a particular period. You don't want to see for whole year. If you have multiple months and different activities happening, for example in past 3 months, you just want to look maybe in past week, 2 weeks, or maybe only this month. So just amend, click on drop down list and select custom interval to which you want to analyze and look at. Of course you can also download as PDFs this general ledger report. You can find bookkeeping errors if there are any, or look at trial balance by downloading it. So okay, so every code has like activity what you have done on accounting software will be in a number format. So for example trade creditors means suppliers who I haven't paid yet, and if I click on this drop down list, these are all this is all activity in my account. So if I'm looking on details, I can see that these been all in credits, but then there been debits, that means that I have paid them, and I have 3,200 stayed as Gary Green invoice, and 250 is advertising. So actually 3,450 most likely are these 2 invoices. I need to go to suppliers account and see, because in suppliers and purchases I can see which invoices are overdue under this section. So actually these are to Gary and Advert Limited who are outstanding. So if I look back to my general ledger report, Then, as I said, under trade creditors, I can see full activity in this period, so from 1st of August until 22nd of August. If I look on my cost of sales goods or my profit and loss statement codes, so they're starting from sales of products, I can see that I sold products, which were my books. I can see my activity in account. Also, there have been credit note issued for 120. And if I look under services, I can see breakdown of services and journal entries posted. So if I click on journal entries, I can see also attached documents there or invoice issued. Okay. So if I look on cost of materials, for example, then if I look for materials purchased, if I click on this transaction, I can actually see also attached invoice to referencing or supporting this transaction, what has been added. Very nice and easy to follow and check details where and what have been added. Okay. Under office stationery, there is information as well, and there is of course attached document which we can download, and we have option to delete receipt and then go back and attach to that particular transaction for materials limited correct support document. Yeah. So general ledger would give you a breakdown in a particular period. If you need to drill into more information about activity happening in that period, if you need to. And now profit and loss statement will show if I have made actually profit or maybe I have made a loss. So profit and loss report will show sales, as we can see. Okay, let's start from the top. Firstly, we have option to download as PDF or export to Excel. If you need to do like add notes or analyze information, it's why you can download as PDF or export to Excel. We can show decimals if you want to, or keep as rounded numbers, and we can show inactive codes if you wish to show them up. Under drop-down list of time frame, we can actually select a custom interval. So for example, I want to just check and look at my August numbers. So there is August, July numbers, and June. So 3 months are analyzed and figures are showed. So first is sales. If I click on drop down list, I can see that how much I have made from sales of products, and when I click on drop down, it even drills more and shows which invoices or credit notes been recorded there, and making up this 3,700. So I can expand also for services, and I can see for services invoices, and of course when you click on these transactions, it will provide more details including invoice to look at. Okay. So that includes in sales. Direct expenses, I have direct expenses, and this combines materials and labor. So I had subcontractor, health and safety instructor or trainer coming in and helping me to give a course to my students. So this is recorded there, and when you click on this blue number letter combination, it will bring to that transaction to show more details, and also materials is showing up there. Okay, so for every single section you can do a more drill or get a breakdown from this report. Okay, so there is overheads, and overheads combines marketing, rent, pensions, electricity, vehicle for fuels, and office stationery. So actually there was vehicle fuel, but it was in July, so there is nothing in August month. Under financial costs, maybe you guessed, maybe no, there are bank charges and fees. So there were £15 in 1st of August. Okay, so there is no taxes, and net profit for August month is 10,209. This net profit also excluding tax, so tax have been not calculated. It will show up in balance sheet under equity if you are looking. So under equity there is 10,209.10. Okay, so that's it. We covered reports. There is 6 reports available under Bokio report section, and this also concludes a whole tutorial of Bokio accounting software. There is also other things to note, like uploads, so you can keep the files on cloud. So once you record transaction, you can actually, for example, if I look from suppliers, and if I want to add new invoice, you can choose uploaded receipt, and that comes from this upload section. Okay, things to do, this is kind of like a little nudge, so you know if there is invoices for whom you waiting payment, and you can automatically register from this screen, or who you need to pay. So there's still 4 days to pay these invoices, but once I paid, I can actually register payment here from this things to do screen. Overview, this would give an insight about your business in I would say small tables and information like aging debts and aging creditors, top 5 expenses and top 5 customers or items. If you wish to, you can select items by clicking on items here, and also you can change your date range in both of these sections. And here you can see income and expenses, and it also shows how much profit you have made. So profit is 10,209. So this is in a graph presentation. And at the top, of course, these ones are quick links, so can record transactions, create invoices, create supplier invoices, and create expense claims. So you can also take product tour if you want to, and as I said, if you need to add a new company, click create new company, and you can switch between multiple companies at the same time. Under this drop down list, this is quick links, so we can upload receipt or invoice. We can also record transaction without receipt. We can import bank feeds, so we will be dropped to bank reconciliation side, and we can create invoice and or salary. So these are kind of quite quick links. So that's it. This covers Bokio accounting software tutorial. I hope you found my Bokio accounting software tutorial useful, and it will be a good guide of how to use this accounting software by yourself. If you have any questions or require any further advice, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in next episode. Bye!